This has been such a busy, productive week. I've been working on my 365 jar challenge, and I've been pressure canning hams that I had in the freezer, trying to go through that freezer and get a lot of this meat pressure canned. Now, these two hams were purchased at Aldi's right after Easter. They had marked them down from $1.79 a pound to 77 cents a pound. So I got each one of these for around $6, and I was really tickled. I immediately put them in the freezer, and now I have time before the garden comes in to get these things pressure canned up. So let me show you how easy it is to pressure can ham. The first step is to take off that outer fat. You do not want to pressure can fat, so try to remove as much of it from the ham as you can. Now, there's a lot of fat in ham, but you can still get a good amount of meat just by removing all of this fat. Okay, after I've removed as much fat as I could, I'm going to be cutting this up into 1-inch chunks. You don't want great big pieces of meat. You want the pressure canner to be able to get into all parts of the meat, so I like to do these in about 1-inch chunks. Now, I've had my jar sitting in hot bubbling water, sterilized, and I'm just going to start raw packing this meat into the jars. Now, these are pints, wide mouth pints, which is my favorite thing to do meat in. It's perfect for 2 people. And as you can see, if I see a little extra bit of fat, I'll just pull that right off. Then I'm going to debubble. Now, my canning book said not to add liquid, but I have in the past added a couple of tablespoons of boiling water in it, and I should have done that with this, but I did not. I followed the book, but I always like a little bit of liquid to cover all of my meat. So you'll see at the end where it did leave about 1-inch gap at the top without any liquid on it. It's perfectly fine. I placed that in the canner, and I got my canner completely loaded with all the jars of ham. Now we're going to put the lid on this. I've got 8 jars, 8 wide mouth pint jars in this canner. I'm going to put the lid on it and then let it vent. Steam coming out of the pressure valve for a good 10 minutes. You have to time it. Now, after 10 minutes of full steam, I put the weight on and I stand and watch it come to pressure. I want to cook this at 11 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes. So staying right there, regulating the heat, I did achieve 11 pounds of pressure, and then I started my timer for 75 minutes. And this is the end result after letting it cook for 75 minutes and the pressure come down. I safely removed the jars. They all sealed, and they look great. Now, you may ask, what in the world do you use this ham for? So this morning I pulled out a jar that I did last June, and I'm going to make a ham and cheese egg quiche with it. So easy to do, so delicious. So just pop the lid off. It did have a good seal on it. I'm going to drain off that liquid. I don't need that for this quiche. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like. It is very, very tender. It almost has a really deep, smoky taste to it. It is delicious. So, see how tender it is? Just comes apart. And I'm going to put this into a bowl. And I did not use the whole pint. I'm going to save some of it to season some beans with for dinner tonight. But that's what it looks like after it has been pressure canned. And now I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. And I'm going to pour this into a frozen pie crust. This is a very quick breakfast that you can put together real quick and then stick it in the oven. It's delicious. So I'm just moving the meat and the cheese around, and then I'm going to take 6 eggs and add to this mixture. So here are 6 eggs from my backyard hen house. Look how pretty those yolks are. I'm telling you what, I love my backyard chickens, and I'm just overwhelmed with eggs right now. There's so many. So this recipe uses a lot of eggs, and I'm going to be making some of these and putting them in the freezer so that I can just pop them out for breakfast and try to use up as many of those eggs as I can. So I'm adding about a half a cup of half and half. And then I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm just going to take my whisk and beat those eggs. Okay, after I've got the eggs well beaten and mixed in with the milk, I'm just going to pour this right over the ham and the cheese. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to put it in there for 50 minutes. Now I did go back and do an egg wash about halfway around that pie crust to give it a nice golden color. And here is the delicious quiche. We ate that whole thing this morning and for lunch. Now other ways I like to use the ham is to season these beans with. I love black-eyed peas, northern beans, pinto beans. We use it that way. Now earlier in the week I did put up about 8 pounds of stew beef meat, and I pressure canned that. That is my favorite meat to pressure can. I do have videos on that. If you'll go over to my page and to my playlist, you'll see all of the videos that I do on canning, pressure canning. And I have a special 365 jar challenge 2023 playlist where you can go and watch all of the videos that I've done so far. I've done a lot of the jar challenge meals, so I want you to go check that out. This challenge was hosted by Jill over at North Texas Vegetable Gardening and Cooking channel. Go check out her playlist. She's got different things than I do, and I just would encourage you to go over there and check out her playlist. We are both working really hard to get our pantries packed with 365 jars this year. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with others. I hope you all have a very blessed day.